what's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Claytano. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. And we're back with another Dungeon Hunter Champions video. And today I am going to review the Ink Ninja family. All right, so this is the 5th video of the series. So basically what I've been doing is I've been going down the list of every unit family in the game and going over how I would gear them, where I would use them, where they're good for, etc, etc, etc. So if you guys are interested in that sort of thing, I will still be continuing down the list. Just go ahead and subscribe and like the video so that way you guys can see more of it. All right, but let's get right into the video here. So we're gonna start off with Tenkoku, and he is the Fire Ink Ninja. All right, so the Ink Ninjas are actually pretty unique as they don't really have too many variations throughout all of the skills, so it's going to be really easy to go over this unit for you guys, okay? So for Brush Stroke, hurls ink at an enemy, attacking it from a distance. If the enemy is marked, the ink explodes in a powerful glyph, which deals bonus damage and slows. So a lot of the damage is going to be based on whether the unit that you're attacking is marked or not marked, okay? So a lot of people kind of get confused where they just kind of briefly look over the skills and say, wow, that's really awesome. It does mark, it does slow, it does mortal wounds, does mark, it stuns, it marks, no. Be careful because you have to have the unit marked in order for the different effect to kick in, okay? So just like with your basic attack here, which is Brush Stroke, it has to be marked in order for you to slow the unit, okay? Now, Tongue Smack, this is kind of the same for every unit throughout the family, except for one little change. Instead of stuns, it might put ongoing damage on. But everything else does the same thing, dealing damage and inflicts mortal wounds on all enemies in a line. If an enemy is marked, this also stuns for the fire one, okay? So the fire one stuns. And then Ink Slash, this is the exact same skill for every single unit in this family throughout the way, which it draws a line of magical ink in the air, detonates after a brief period, damages and marks enemies on the initial stroke, and again when it explodes. Now guys, this is the most important skill on your Ink Ninjas, because if this doesn't go off first, if you don't mark your enemies first, then you don't stun, you don't put ongoing damage, you don't slow them, and you sure as heck don't ignore a larger portion of the enemy's defense, okay? So this is super important. So honestly, guys, if you are already kind of getting the hint, accuracy is a huge stat that you guys want to be focusing on for your Ink Ninjas, okay? So moving on, though, to the last skill. There's just a small variation on this throughout all the Ink Ninjas as well. Draw to Life brings ink to life, summoning a massive frog spirit to devour enemies, deals damage to enemies within an area, and knocks them up into the air, ignores a large portion of the enemy's defense and a larger portion against marked enemies. So not only do you do more damage based on that mark debuff, but you also deal more damage because you're ignoring a larger portion of the enemy's defense. So it's really nice. And then you increase the attack of ally champions by 33%, which is actually not a bad synergy trait as well along with it. So how would I rune a Tenkoku? Well, it's actually a decent farming unit. Now the AI is, just to warn you guys, not very good. So you're probably not going to be marking a unit before you use your Draw to Life, and you're just going to kind of like, it'll be like a little weird. But Tenkoku specifically, I would probably build it if you're using it as a farmer with attack percent shoulder pads, crit damage gloves, and then attack percent bracers. I would put it on the vampiric set along with a keen offset. I would say that's probably the best way to use it in most situations for farming throughout the entire family. Now, if you are planning to use it for arena offense and other things like that, I would say build it a little bit tankier, I would say. So still maybe attack percent on the shoulder pad, but then maybe throw HP percent on the bracer or something like that. Also have some nice accuracy substats, but I would say have that as a substat. Don't waste your bracer on having accuracy on your bracer, okay? You want that extra attack power for sure, okay? So that's how I build it. Potentially you could throw it on Adept as well because it does a lot of skills. So if you cycle through that more often, you're gonna be doing more damage. So those are really nice to have on Adept. I wouldn't really recommend Dazzling. Mortal could be an option if you're really trying to be super, super powerful. But in my opinion, it's either Vampiric or Adept, and that's pretty much it, okay? So moving on though from Tenkoku, we have Washi, which is the Water Ink Ninja. And like I said, guys, so pretty much all the skills are the same. Brushstroke is the same, Ink Slash is the same, and the only variation is that this one lowers defense. I think the fire one stun. Yeah, so instead of stunning, this one actually lowers the defense on Tongue Slash, which is kind of nice as well. So I would say, you know, the stun, the lower defense, it can kind of be debatable which one's more important depending on where you're using it, because you can't stun a boss, obviously, in raids, but you can definitely lower their defense. So you guys kind of have to weigh out the options of which one you think is better yourself. Ink Slash, again, is the same throughout every single unit in the entire family, but the only difference is that this third skill, instead of actually dealing damage that ignores defense and then more defense if it's on a marked unit, this one is guaranteed crit against marked enemies and deals bonus crit damage to those enemies. So if it is not marked, you don't get any sort of like bonus, right? You have to have it marked to be guaranteed a crit and for it to deal bonus crit damage to those enemies, okay? So again, make sure the unit is marked. If you pair it with a unit that marks other enemies, it's actually really nice. Like I said, the AI of this is not very good. So if you're using it on arena defense, don't expect for it to all go off as planned. And I would say if you're using it on arena offense, I would make sure that I would probably say I would manual it out if I'm using him on arena offense. For the build, I would say it's a very similar build. You probably can worry less about having additional crit rate because you have this skill that, you know, is guaranteed to crit anyway. And then you could probably spend more of that on the accuracy portion instead. So at least keep it though around, I would say like minimum 60% plus for this unit, because you still want it to be doing crit damage on the first ability, the second, etc., etc., etc. So make sure you have it at least 60% in my opinion, and then the accuracy probably like 50% plus is what you guys want to shoot for. Same build though as the fire one. The third unit here though is the Nature Ink Ninja, which is Suzuri, and he is quite nice. So his variation is that instead of doing the stun or the defense break, he does ongoing damage instead, which you guys know that is extremely crucial for bossing, for raids. Elder Drakes is really good because it's a nature element as well, and then it does help you out in Steel Widow, but I would say don't bring it against Steel Widow 10. There's other options that are non-elemental disadvantage against Steel Widow 10. So keep that in mind as well. Also, the nice thing about this unit is that you can use it in 5 versus 5 PvP, so having that ability actually makes it a little bit a step ahead of all the other ones. I would say for right now, the nature one is probably a little bit better than the fire one. The fire one's probably a little bit better than the water one as it stands in my opinion, okay? So it does the ongoing damage, Ink Slash is the exact same, does the mark, and then this one is guaranteed to crit against marked enemies and deals bonus crit damage to those enemies. The only reason why it puts it above instead of like having that better third skill, I would say, is because it is available in 5v5. The third skill, this is the worst out of the 2 third skills in my opinion, okay? It has the same attack percent though, increase of ally champions by 33%, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Now this one, this is the Light Ink Ninja. His name is literally Food, and when I was making the tier list of the Ink Ninjas, I was like, man, this guy's name is Food. I was like, hopefully he's like the sickest unit in the game, so that way, you know, people aren't gonna make a joke that he's food and you guys should eat him and like feed him to the other ones. But then I was like, okay, so we'll see. So Tongue Smack, it has a stun instead of the ongoing damage or the defense break. Ink Slash is the same exact thing of everything else, of course, but then it has the worst of the 2 third skills, and in my opinion, probably not the best of the first skills. Because the stun is nice for mainly like PvP areas, but it's not really that useful in raids because, again, you can't stun a boss. But for PvP, this might be on the better side. Now, again, this is guaranteed crit against marked enemies and deals bonus crit damage to those enemies. So this is the same as the other 3 that we've seen, which is the nature and the water. The only one that's different so far has been Tenkoku, which has that sick third skill, which I believe is the best out of all of them, okay? Now, moving on to Sumi though, which is the Dark Ink Ninja. This one has the ongoing damage, which I think is probably the best out of the first skills that you can get because it's useful not only in just like raids, but it still helps in an arena offense, arena defense, and stuff like that if you were to use it there. It's really not that great because the AI, again, is just kind of horrible, but it's still a really good farming unit for, like, they're all really good farming units, but this one especially is really good for farming. And then Ink Slash does the mark, and then Drawn to Life is the ignore defense, ignore more defense if it's marked skill. Okay, so I would say out of all of the Ink Ninjas, as far as the ranking is concerned, Sumi is definitely the best in my opinion, which is the dark one. Then it probably goes down to the nature one, then the fire one, then the light one, then the water one, in that order, I would say. If you guys have different opinions, definitely go ahead and share them. Of course, it's just my opinion, and my opinion isn't like God or anything. So I'd love to hear you guys. If you want to go ahead and throw your comments down below, that'd be great. And really, aside from that, just keep in mind, they're great farmers, they're great on arena offense, they're great for bossing if they have that ongoing damage. Build it with Vampiric or Adept, in my opinion, with attack percent, crit damage, attack percent, most likely. All right, with a little bit of accuracy subset. So aside from that, though, guys, if this helped you out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, the like button helps out as well. And as always, stay soupy, don't be potatoes, and I will see you guys next time. All right, peace.
I run away.